All right. So right now we are on CNN. No vaccines, no leadership, no end in sight. How Brazil became a global threat. All right. So this is going to be a story about Brazil and the coronavirus or COVID-19. There's a problem in Brazil right now. The temperature read 95 degrees Fahrenheit on Tuesday, but the humidity made it worse amid the stifling late summer Rio de Janeiro heat. Silvia Silva Santos steadied her 77-year-old mother as they walked towards the clinic gate. We've already come here twice, and she hasn't managed to get a vaccine, said Silva Santos. She just stands in line, and then there's no more vaccines, and we have to leave. At the gate, Silva Santos asked the guard if she could get her mother a vaccine. Keenly aware of CNN cameras watching, he quickly ushered her in. About 5 minutes later, the pair came back out, bad news written on their faces. I think that this is very wrong, said Silva Santos, clearly angry and frustrated. Now we have to find out again when they'll have vaccines, and you never know when. That frustration rippled through the elderly crowd as person after person was denied a first dose of the vaccine after the state of Rio de Janeiro suspended its vaccination campaign because they had run out of vaccine supplies. So once again, what's happening already, what you already know is that Brazil has a huge population. I want you guys to notice something real quick. I want you guys to know how big you're talking about, how big of an issue that you're talking about here. Brazil population numbers. I want you to see how populated Brazil is, right? Right. So in Brazil, you have 212 million people. 212 million people in Brazil. So I want you to understand how big of an issue that you're talking about here. This is not just some tiny issue where you can just say, well, it can be put off, it could be ignored. No. Brazil is actually one of the most populated countries on planet Earth. That's why I'm very concerned about this. This is why I don't really know what to say about this, because it's like if Brazil goes out of control and they don't get enough people like vaccines, this could be a big problem for the rest of the world, because you don't know what could develop in Brazil. In those freaking jungles, you don't know what could develop. You don't know how that virus could freaking mutate. You have no idea. So I'm really, really worried now. Very worried. This is a disaster, a total disaster, a woman told CNN after being denied her vaccine. Who's to blame for this? I think our leaders and our politicians suck. I agree, sister. I agree. The growing perfect storm. The COVID-19 crisis in Brazil has never been worse. Nearly every Brazilian state has an ICU occupancy of 80% or higher, according to a CNN analysis of state data. As of Friday, 16 of 26 states were at or above 90%, meaning those health systems have collapsed or at an imminent risk of doing so. The 7-day averages of both new cases and new deaths are higher than they have ever been. In the last 10 days, about a quarter of all coronavirus deaths worldwide have been recorded in Brazil, according to CNN analysis. Wow. A quarter of all coronavirus deaths worldwide. I mean, according to what they're saying now, and I can believe it, given, once again, look at those population numbers. Think about how many potential people that virus could kill. That is, and that's their population numbers as of 2021. It's just a lot of people. A lot of people. I mean, if you get like a 5% fatality rate, or 1%, or let's say that Brazil's poor, because you have a whole lot of ghettos there, you have a whole lot of poor people there. When you have populations that are that huge, even in like the U.S., China, India, it doesn't really matter. You know, if you start looking into those world powers, those mega countries, what you'll notice is that those countries, while they have money, they have great wealth, they also have great poverty. Because in some areas, there is no economic gray area. It's either sink or swim. It's either you're in the ghetto or you're in a freaking mansion. Believe it or not, if you drive through some parts of Washington, D.C., you will see the wealth gap. You will see the wealth inequality. it will become immediately apparent to you, or you're blind because you'll be riding through the hood 1 minute, and the very next minute you driving through mansions. So I mean, it's just you got to understand that with the amount of poverty that Brazil surely has, because I fully expect that. I don't even have to like look it up. But when you have, let me see, Brazil, because when you look at the poverty numbers, that typically tells you a lot about how a virus will spread. Over 5.6 million Brazilians fell into poverty. What's poverty rate? 6.5%. Yeah. You got poverty there. So people don't have access to medical care. They don't have access to get to a hospital. They don't even have access to get like PPE. Some of them can barely afford food. They gonna buy a goddamn mask when I gotta pick between that and like food. This is a real problem. Like, people should look at this and take this seriously, because even if you get the vaccine, right, you don't know what could damn mutate there. This is Brazil. You know, people believe that the virus jumped from an animal to people. Have you seen some of the animals in damn Brazil? Are you sure ain't no shit could just pop up there? We got to address this shit now. Let's go ahead and get these people vaccinated now. So if we've got countries that got vaccine stores, let's send it to the places that have these mega populations. The more people that are vaccinated, the closer that we get to herd immunity. Let's get these people, let's get shots and arms. If we have extras, if other countries, you know, Israel, if China, if India, if United States, if anybody has extra vaccines, Canada, let's get it to Brazil now, because given their huge population numbers, I wonder, country population list. I wonder, what does Brazil rank in terms of world population? I know they're in like top 10. I'm pretty sure they're in top 10. Brazil, top 6, yeah. Number 6. They are number 6. Listen, if you get some major crazy outbreak there, they are the 6th most populated country in the world. That's not a small deal, man. That's a problem. And it's the vaccine rollouts. It's people, you know, misinformation. And people are literally becoming Brazil a global health hazard because of the huge population numbers and people not getting vaccines, and people don't take the virus seriously. People don't have PPE, poverty, a lot of issues, a lot of deep-seated issues there. You know, I don't think that the world is taking this as seriously as the world probably should be taking it.